Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to the conference with Le Cercle des Langues. I am Chanel and I will be taking you through this evening's conference. We will be speaking about bikes and sustainable transportation. So if you think about bikes, it is a bicycle. So bikes are just a shorter word describing a bicycle or a motorbike. The level of tonight's conference is A1 to A2. For the first 25 minutes, we will be talking about what's in the conference. I will be presenting the conference. And for the last 5 minutes, we will have a question and answer. So in the question and answer, you are more than welcome to write your questions on a paper, or you can put your questions in the chat if you have any. So let's begin. Today's conference has 3 parts. We are going to be talking about the introduction to cycling and sustainable transportation. We are then going to look at tips for incorporating cycling into your daily life. Number 3, we will look at the environmental impact of cycling. So let's begin. Introduction to cycling and sustainable transportation. Before we begin, you will see on the right-hand side of the screen, we have the translation in French, which will make it a lot easier if there is vocabulary that you do not understand. And also, please feel free to write down new vocabulary during the presentation. This will help you to remember it. DeepL is an application that you can use on your phone or on your computer, and it can help you translate later. So, sustainable transportation refers to modes of transportation that are designed to have minimal impact on the environment, promote social equity, and ensure economic viability over the long term. That means when we take public transportation or sustainable transportation, we are taking transportation that does not have a bad effect on the environment. It also helps our social integration, how we are socially, our social equity, and it helps the economy as well. So it helps the economy over the long term. This concept aims to meet the current transportation needs without compromising future generations' needs. So the key principle of sustainable transportation include, let's have a look. Number 1, environmental responsibility. So, responsabilité environnementale, social equity, équité sociale, economic viability, viabilité économique, multimodal integration, intégration multimodale, and land use planning, aménagement du territoire. So these are the parts of vocabulary that you will see probably throughout the presentation. And when we talk about these parts, they can be used as vocabulary as well as what these key principles are. So let's look. Which are the top five most sustainable ways to travel? So could you please put some suggestions that you have? Est-ce que vous pouvez écrire five sustainable ways to travel in the chat for me, please. Let's have a look. What do you think those ways, sustainable ways to travel are? So you can write it in the chat and we will have a look at them together. So I will start with one and I will say, which is a good one, we can travel by, beautiful. So we've got the bus, I say the bicycle. If it is in a good distance, we can also do what we call co-riding, which means where we have one car. It's also called a carpool in English, excuse me, let me just correct that. A carpool, which allows us with a carpool to have many people in the car and we share the transportation costs. We've also got bikes, scooters, bus, train, and co-riding, as you have said. Thank you so much for sharing. So let's continue. So the 5 top sustainable ways of transport or sustainable types of transportation are walking. Walking is perhaps the most sustainable and zero emission mode of travel. It not only reduces carbon emissions, but also offers health benefits and gives us a connection with nature. We then have cycling. So cycling is an eco-friendly mode of transportation that promotes physical fitness. It produces zero emissions and requires minimal resources. Public transportation, utilizing buses, trains, trams, and subways significantly reduce carbon emissions per passenger compared to private vehicles. Carpooling and ride sharing. So sharing rides with others through carpooling or Uberpool helps reduce the number of vehicles on the road. And number 5, electric vehicles or hybrid cars. Transitioning from conventional gasoline-powered vehicles to electric vehicles or hybrids significantly reduces greenhouse gas emissions. However, there is still a discussion in regards to the battery's sustainability. So that is the one part of an electrical car that is posing many questions, and it's how long can the battery last, and the battery still needs to be charged. At the bottom you can see the translation in French. Do you use any of these methods in your daily life? Please write your answer in the chat. So, do you use public transportation, cycling, walking, carpooling and ride sharing, electric vehicles, and hybrid cars? So please share with me, which mode of transport do you use? So myself, I like to cycle. I use my bicycle and I also walk because everything I have is in the distance, a walking distance in my village. So Sake, you said tram and bus. Beautiful. Yves Andre, you said scooter, cycling, and public transport. Wonderful. Nadia, what about you? I walk and I use carpooling. Wonderful. So thank you for sharing with us. Let's continue. So tips for incorporating cycling into your daily life. What is one benefit of cycling? Let's look. So, a benefit of cycling, we can also answer in the chat. One benefit of cycling is it helps with your fitness. So, it helps keep you fit and it helps keep you healthy. Thank you, Yves. Exactly. It helps keep you healthy. And that is, I think, a very big and wonderful benefit about cycling. Riding a bicycle, apart from saving money, so saving money is number one, and being environmentally friendly, also stimulates neurotransmitters such as dopamine and serotonin. So, neurotransmitters in the brain, it releases dopamine and serotonin, which increases oxygen in your blood and regulates feelings of stress and anxiety. Cycling as a mode of transportation generally has a lower environmental impact compared to many other forms of transportation, particularly those that rely on fossil fuels. So, tip one, get a bike. If you can afford a bike and if you have one already, that's wonderful. It says if you already have a bike, great. Try to find a space where you can enjoy the calmness of riding your bicycle. If possible, in a natural space where there is no rush. So when we talk about no rush, il n'y a pas d'urgence. So you can take your time and you can get to your destination without anxiety and calm. If you don't have one yet, you can start by buying a second-hand bike and give it a try. Nowadays, many people opt for an electric bike. And we know electric bikes, they allow you, ils vous permettent to go further without being tired. Number 2, find a companion. Find a partner or a group of people who like to ride bikes. These social moments are essential to help clear your mind and feel happy in the company of others. Number 3, biking to work. Try biking to work a few times a week. Exercising before work can bring great benefits in terms of satisfaction and creativity. Tip number 4, find the right places to go. In Europe, there are many friendly routes to explore by bike. Plan a short trip with friends and enjoy the good weather in a very sustainable way. Try to start with a short camping trip or a bike day around your region. Another beautiful thing in France is that we have many bike routes, so bicycle routes, where you can ride your bicycle to get from one part of a village, maybe to another village or to another part of the city. So those are all of our tips. Now we are going to look at the environmental impact of environmental impact in general. So the key principles of sustainable transportation include zero emissions, to be energy efficient, so energy efficiency, reduced traffic congestion, minimal infrastructure impact, health benefits, noise pollution, land use, and waste reduction. Facts about sustainable transportation. Cycling as transportation. In many European countries, cycling is a common mode of transportation, with countries like the Netherlands and Denmark leading the way. For example, in the Netherlands, around 27% of all trips are made by bicycle. So that is an incredible figure that shows that there is a large part of the community using their bicycles. The environmental impact. Cycling reduces air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to mitigating climate change. Sake, you are asked if we can have the text after class. Yes, with pleasure. So I will just stop the presentation to let you know that we will be sending you the presentation via email just after the class. So my absolute pleasure. So again, cycling reduces air pollution. Environmental impact. So when we talk about road space, we look at a bus versus a bike or bikes versus cars. The project, so this project used 69 people, as this is the capacity of a standard Canberra bus, and 60 cars, as this is the number occupied on average by 69 people. So we can see in the images that when you have your bicycle, we can occupy more people with less space. Sustainable transportation initiatives. Many cities are implementing sustainable transportation initiatives, including investing in public transportation, promoting walking and cycling, and implementing car sharing and car riding programs to reduce reliance on private cars. So let's look at sustainable transportation initiatives in France. So we've got Cycle City in Paris. We've also got a pedestrian-only paradise in Bordeaux. So for you, which are the 5 most bike-friendly cities in the world? Please put your opinions in the chat. Let's see, what do you think? The 5 most bike-friendly cities in the world. Lovely. Thank you, Sak. So when we talk about the 5 most bike-friendly cities in the world, the first one we can think about is Amsterdam. That's a suggestion. So if we think about one, it could be Amsterdam. Let's look at some of the suggestions that they give us. Number 5, Amsterdam in the Netherlands. If we all cycled like the Dutch, CO2 emissions would drop by 690 million tons. So that is quite a lot. So that's if we cycled like the Dutch. That's number 5. Number 4, Copenhagen in Denmark. The city is investing a lot in cycling infrastructure. Number 3, Antwerp, Belgium. A strong bike sharing system and car-free Sunday events have made it friendly to cyclists. Number 2, Munster, Germany. 39% of residents use bikes on a daily basis. That's 39%. That is a big number. And the last one is Utrecht, Netherlands. More than half of its population, so 51%, use a bicycle in everyday life. So that is incredible. Sustainable transportation is a great way to improve the air quality in our cities. Do more exercise and reduce the CO2, so that is the carbon dioxide emissions. We hope you have enjoyed the presentation. Have you tried to get into the habit of cycling? So as I can see, some of you already vous utilisez votre vélo, vos vélos. So that is something that's wonderful. So thank you for joining me in today's presentation. As I said, the presentation will be sent to you via email after today's conference. So do any of you have ideas or things you would like to share on today's presentation, or just comments that you would like to make with regards to transportation, sustainable transportation? No? Was it all good for you?
All is good, yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Yves. So, thank you again for joining me for this conference with Le Cercle des Langues. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see
Okay.
you next week for the next conference.
Okay, so you are, thank you, Channel.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye, bye.